All right, we're all set to go. We've had a little funny volume today, so we'll adjust if it's the folks who are joining virtually are occasionally very loud, so don't be surprised. We'll adjust if that happens.
Beth, could you hold it down?
Okay, now let's call the meeting to order. Michelle, you want to take the roll call, please?
Mayor Zakowski.
Here.
Alderman Kittle.
Here.
Alderman Vries.
Here.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Here.
Alderman Montello.
Here.
Alderman Volkert.
Here.
Alderman Kraft.
Here.
Pledge of allegiance. Your motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Any public comments? Any public comments? If not, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any questions on the consent agenda? Want to take the roll, please?
We don't typically take a roll on the consent.
Okay.
Yea or nay?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Full business, appointments to boards and commissions, 2022.
Michelle, has the list been updated since last Friday at all?
There's just been one addition over the weekend, and that was Don Jacobson to the Tourism Committee. After we finished we had three applicants, we met with each, and then I brought them forward to the mayor and to Pete Vries as chair of that committee.
And your recommendation is?
Don Jacobson, she's new to the group.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to offer a motion that we approve these appointments to boards and commissions as they are spelled out here. And then but I also want to ask a question. I see we have this resolution on here. Do you want that to be a separate action?
You can do both together.
Okay, and then my motion also to approve resolution 052206 regarding the border review for this year in June.
I'll second that.
Any questions on that at all?
I just want to make one more comment before we pass this, and I'm all in favor of doing that. But as I've said before, I really think we need to have these committees being filled by people that are going to bring value to the committees. Talent in this town and this city, and I'd like to see us use that talent better as we move forward.
Want to take the roll on that, please?
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert.
Yes.
Alderman Kraft.
Yes.
New business, Fox Run 4th Edition Preliminary Plat Application.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Today I have 3 items to discuss.
I'm just bringing that up.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, look, it doesn't want to come up. It'll just take a minute. I'll go ahead and pull.
All right, the first item is Fox Run 4th Edition Preliminary Plat. You can see where the site is located on the screen. Stone Property Investments has submitted a preliminary plat application for this edition of 52 single-family homes. The plat on the bottom of the agenda.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get the disconnected so I can add your PowerPoint.
That's okay. The process is as follows. It was reviewed by the DRC. We held a public hearing at the Plan Commission meeting on May 3rd, and we are seeking final approval today. The site is located on the northwest corner of the current Fox Run development. The site is guided for low-density residential future land use, and it is zoned Z2 suburban. Both allow single-family homes. The future development is consistent with the surrounding land uses. The plat includes 52 single-family dwellings. All lots include setback lines that allow for reasonable building areas. Lot coverage will be reviewed before building permit issuance. Access to the lot will be from a western extension of Otter Way and a northern extension of Grouse Way. 2 stubs were added for future development to the north via Grouse Way and Raccoon Court. Raccoon Court is not shown on this preliminary plat, but it is a condition in the memo. There will also be 5-foot wide sidewalks on Otter Way extending to Raccoon Court. Outlot 2 will be dedicated as a park, and we will be reviewing the results of a park survey we mailed out at the park board meeting on Wednesday. We are proposing the addition of a trail on the northern lot edge of the addition to aid in the connectivity of our trail system. The stormwater plan was reviewed by our consultant, David Schofield. Utilities, easements, and landscaping are all subject to review of the Director of Public Works. A condition of the memo is that revisions must be made to the outlots to include stormwater basins encroached on by lots currently. All the way to the recommendation, please. The DRC and Plan Commission recommend approval of the Fox Run 4th Edition preliminary plat with the conditions in the memo.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to offer a motion that we approve this proposed Fox Run 4th Edition preliminary plat with the 11 conditions, and some of them have sub A and B, or at least one of them does, but all 11 of those conditions as presented tonight.
I'll second.
Any further questions? Not take the roll, please.
Alderman Vries,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Montello,
Yes.
Alderman Volkert,
Yes.
Alderman Kraft,
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Motion approved. Next item is Johnson Ford CSM application.
The process for CSMs are that they are reviewed by the DRC. They go forward to at a Plan Commission meeting for recommendation of approval, and final action occurs at the City Council level. Johnson Ford has submitted a CSM application to subdivide Lot 1 shown on the screen. They previously had applied, but the previous one was never recorded due to financial complications. Last month, City Council approved a memorandum of understanding to allow an accessory structure on its own lot, Lot 1. DRC and Plan Commission recommend approval of the CSM for Johnson Ford as is.
I would make a motion that we approve the proposed CSM as outlined.
Second?
Any further questions? Not take the roll, please.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Montello,
Yes.
Alderman Volkert,
Yes.
Alderman Kraft,
Yes.
Alderman Kittle,
Yes.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Approved. Presbyterian Homes, New Richmond Senior Housing Incorporated CSM application.
Presbyterian Homes has submitted a CSM application to divide their current lot into 2 lots. City Council has already approved a conditional use permit for this lot. With minor changes mentioned in the memo, DRC and Plan Commission recommend approval of the CSM application for Pres Homes.
Mayor, I'm going to offer a motion that we approve this proposed CSM New Richmond Deerfield as it's been presented.
I'll second that.
Any further questions?
The pilot program, would that be the same, would that have to be restructured
So there isn't necessarily a clause in the existing that it would be restructured, but those are discussions that we could have as staff in regards to potentially a pilot agreement.
What's the estimated value on this property?
That I'm not sure of off the top of my head.
Okay. But it's just something I think we should look into. I mean,
I have one other question here. Will there be something in lieu of taxes? Because that's nonprofit, I'm assuming. Oh, okay, that same thing?
Yep, that was the
Okay.
pilot payment that,
Do you want to take the roll, please?
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderman Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Breeze?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Motion approved. Next item, 2022 street and utility project bid results.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. Before I get into the bid results, I just want to back up a little bit. Last council meeting, we did discuss installing new sidewalks in a couple locations, and one of them being Oak Avenue. At that meeting, I didn't get a chance, I didn't do a good job of conveying that the row houses who live on the project were not in favor of the sidewalk. So we did invite them to the Public Works Committee meeting. They were at the meeting just prior to this one. And we had some discussions on their concerns with installing sidewalk along that project. And it was the recommendation of the Public Works Committee that we do not move forward with installing the sidewalk on that area. So I don't know if we want to go through that, and if you have any questions on that first before we get into the bids.
Oh, I think we should.
We approved it with the sidewalk.
We approved it with the sidewalk. The
Should have
Public
a-
Works approved it now without the sidewalk.
Right, but should, the council should probably.
I think so.
We should, and so, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to offer a motion that we eliminate the sidewalk extension project from Oak Avenue. Is it Oak Street? Project, that we take the sidewalk extension off there as has been
Well,
Public Works.
I agree, and I think we should discuss it though also. I mean, if
Fine.
the Public Works is a recommendation to this board, to this council.
Do we need to second? I'll second the motion from Mike first. Now we can
My bad.
do discussion.
Yeah, I think we should discuss it a little bit. I'm kind of, we'll go to discussion now, Jim.
Yeah.
I just think I'm up in the air about it. I'm okay with it not being there. I'm okay with it being there. It saves a few dollars, saves $50,000 of the project to not have it there. It just seems like there's so many different areas in this town where you are on a sidewalk and it disappears. It ends in front of somebody's house or at the end of a block, or there's a lot of odd things, and I think that should, in the long run, be corrected, but I don't know that we could correct them all. So, and 200-year-old towns are like that. They're just quirks and things that happen in maybe somebody 100 years ago said, you're not putting a sidewalk in front of my house, so we just didn't. I think it's odd to have it that way, but I understand that I'm okay with it either way, so.
Yeah, I think that's a very real concern that you express. You know, there's not too many people are happy when they have an existing home and it's like, hey, we're going to put a sidewalk in front of your house now.
Yeah.
I did drive and look at that property, in fact, just yesterday, and that one's kind of that's a tough placement. That's a real tough placement. So I think obviously we want to put sidewalks in where we can. The change to the neighborhood by putting a sidewalk, extending the sidewalk on that particular street, and of course you're having it run, you're basically having it dump into two roadways with those roads that cover the north and the south road that go east and west there, if that isn't confusing, to the Hockey Association building. So, no, I think it's a good concern. I think in this case, I think the action's right to not do it here. But I agree with you, kind of big picture.
Just so also everyone is clear, the existing sidewalk to the north on Oak will be removed and not replaced.
That sidewalk goes nowhere? I mean,
No.
basically?
The street right now, and it
Yep.
just ends at a
It ends-
property line.
Yep.
Like that bridge in Milwaukee. The bridge to nowhere, this is a sidewalk.
That was Alaska.
Alaska, yeah, they're real
Senator,
close to each
Senator
other.
Stevens can help you with
Ways
that one.
away.
Same climate.
I was thinking of the blue, I
Yeah,
was
same.
thinking of the Blues Brother. There you go.
Okay, we have the change in the motion now. We have a second on that.
Yeah, Carrie seconded it.
Discussion done. Take the roll, please.
Do you have anything else on that?
No, just what I mentioned at the Public Works meeting, you know, this you know, we're reconstructing the road, probably not gonna get reconstructed for another 40, 50 years. So the chance, if there is a call for sidewalk in the future, it's gonna be much more difficult to install.
Yep.
You know, that being said, right now, it doesn't go anywhere. So if we don't wanna put the remainder of it in to make that connection from Third to Fifth, I would go with just taking it out and not having sidewalk at all.
So Eric, just keep some good notes, so the next time the street gets redone, you'll
Yeah.
remember
In
what
40
we
years,
talked
I'll be
about.
like, I told you so.
Meyer, why we didn't put a sidewalk in there?
So does the motion include this entire bid, or the
No, it's
motion
just, right now, we're just talking about the sidewalk.
Call for the question? Oh, I'm sorry.
Alderman Volkert,
Yes.
Alderman Kraft,
Yes.
Alderman Kittle,
Yes.
Alderman Breeze,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Motion passes. Now on the bids for the work.
Yep, so we opened bids on April 28th for the street and utility project. We received 3 bids from Haas Sons, A1 Excavating, and McCabe Construction. The base bid, were within $400 of each other, which is, you're never gonna see that again for a bid this high. We did bid an alternate. So at the time when we were getting ready to bid, contractors were telling us that ductile iron water main was more than a year out. And so we were concerned that we would have to delay the street project for that water main. So we bid an alternate of a different type of material for water main. So the different material is actually the base bid, and then the ductile iron water main is the alternate. After the bids, Haas, who would be the low bid with the alternate, indicated that they have ductile iron on site, so they're not an issue with the delay in the project. So it would be our recommendation to move forward with Haas Sons, who would be the low bid with the alternate of ductile iron water main.
I'll make a motion that we approve the low bid from Haas Sons, which includes the alternate bid, at a total cost of $1,439,897.20.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? Not take the roll, please.
Alderman Kraft,
Yes.
Alderman Kittle,
Yes.
Alderman Breeze,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Montello,
Yes.
Alderman Volkert.
Yes.
Motion passes. Resolution 05203, Agreement for Financial Assistance for Lead Service Line Replacement Program.
So I don't know if you remember last year, we applied for this grant and the DNR kept indicating that we were going to get the grant and we never really saw it and nothing ever happened. This year, we've actually been awarded the grant. I think the challenge this year is going to be finding plumbers to do the work. But the money's there this year, so as part of the stipulations for getting the grant, we have to pass this resolution as required by the DNR.
You have to use that money within a certain period of time?
That'll have to be used this year. Yep.
This year?
Yeah, they used to let you roll it over, and they won't let you do that anymore.
Can you apply again next year?
Yeah, yep.
What's the success rate of keep applying if you don't use your,
So far, well,
you would think it'd be
not
pretty
counting
high.
last year, they're saying it's 100% success rate so far.
Yeah, okay.
Eric, just for the sake of, can you describe, is it a grant to the homeowner? Is it a loan? What is it?
It's a grant to the homeowner, and so they'll petition we'll reach out to homeowners that want to take advantage of it. We'll hopefully get a pool of plumbers that want to do the work, hopefully. And then the homeowner can choose the plumber, get a bid from them, have the work done, and then they submit for a reimbursement of the bill for the private side. The city will be on the hook for the public side. So anything from the curb stop to the main will be the city's responsibility. Anything from the curb stop to the house will be the private homeowner's responsibility.
So
But the grant pays for
100%
of the private. Yep,
Wow.
including the excavation of your lawn and all of that stuff?
and restoration, and yep.
So how would one know if they had lead in their pipe?
We have a list of suspected.
You have that.
Lead services, yep.
So if Bill from North Third Street called up and said, hey, I heard about this grant, am I eligible for this grant? You would have that.
Yep, yeah, and we'll
information.
actually, once we get some plumbers on board, we'll actually reach out to all the homeowners that
Perfect.
have suspected lead services and say, hey, here's this program, this is what we'd like to do.
Great.
All right, well, how about this one? If you were to guess, what are we talking about, number of residences?
We,
In hundreds?
yeah, it was 120. I think we took care of 6 of them last year.
So
with this.
really, it's just over 100.
Yeah.
That's
yep,
it.
Yep.
So it's pretty limited.
Yeah, it could be worse. There's other communities that are a lot worse.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to offer a motion that we approve Resolution 052203.
Second?
Any further discussion? Take the roll, please.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Vries?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderman Kraft?
Yes.
Motion passes. Electric Department interduct purchase memo.
Good evening, Mayor Zakowski and City Council. This item and our next 2 items are all items that were reviewed at the last Utility Commission meeting. Due to our purchasing policy, because these are more expensive purchases, they require council authorization as well. So this first item is a purchase for the Electric Department. The total cost is $50,000. The low bid was to Millennium. Included in the packet are the 3 quotes that were received. This would be used primarily for a lot of the new residential development this year. So our electric superintendent noted some of those in the memo. So the Meadow Crossing development out on 140th Street, the additions in Fox Run. And just with lead times of these materials, we want to make sure that we can keep up with the new construction and that builders aren't waiting for us because we can't keep up with the demand. So the recommendation from staff and the Utility Commission was to approve the purchase of 20,000 feet of interduct from Millennium with a low bid cost of $50,000.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second that.
Further discussion?
I just want to ask, Eric, and I don't know how much, I'm not expecting you to answer the question, but, you know, people talk about electric cars. If everybody on a given street had a charger in their house, generally speaking, does the wiring infrastructure support that? I have reason to think it doesn't.
You're asking the wrong guy.
He's the only guy here that I could ask the police chief.
Oh, don't worry, Wes is here.
Oh, he's online.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Eric can hear you. And I guess, Wes, my question really has to do with the fact it's conceivable that depending at the rate at which electrification happens, the infrastructure doesn't support complete electrification as we understand it today. It's not just a matter of people just putting that charger in their garage and away we go. You would say that there is concern about infrastructure. And I understand what you're saying, changing deals as we go forward, but as it sits today, infrastructure would have to be upgraded to support an electric car or cars at every residence. Thank you.
Question?
Michelle, you want to take the roll, please?
Alderman Breeze,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes?
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert,
Yes.
Alderman Kraft,
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes. Motion passes. Next, Electric Department Underground Contractor Approval for County Road K, 140th Street upgrade.
So this item is an update to serve the growing electric demands for the Fox Run and Western Prairie developments. So this would be upgrading from single phase to three phase, so improving reliability for customers. Included in your packet are the three bids that were received. The low bid for this project was Chater and Heistrom. And so the recommendation from the Utility Commission and staff is to approve proceeding with the contract with Chater and Heistrom Utility Services and the cost of $40,970.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Who's a second?
Down there.
Mike?
It was a second. It was a second and a third.
Any further discussion? Take the roll, please.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes?
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert, Alderman Kraft.
Yes.
Alderman Kittle,
Yes.
Alderman Breeze.
Yes.
Motion passes. Approval of the bid for the SCADA updates. You want to see it? Explain what SCADA is then for everybody.
When this item as well went to the Utility Commission at their last meeting, there are two bids received for this project. This was a planned improvement in our 2022 capital improvement plan. The low bid in this case was from Quality Flow in the amount of $56,200. I don't know, Eric, if you want to comment on to the mayor's comment or a question.
Sorry. Basically, it allows them to monitor lift stations, booster stations, different equipment in the system remotely. So if they get an alarm, they don't necessarily immediately have to go out and go to the lift station in person. They can check it on their phones, they can check it on their computers. It also allows them a little bit of rudimentary control over the stations. They can change some of the settings and stuff like that. Gives the staff a little more flexibility. It also allows us to collect a lot more data of what's going on at the stations. So it'll report back run times at the lift stations. We keep track of those run times, and if something, you can see if something's starting to get out of line, if a pump needs to be maintained, that sort of thing. So it gives our staff a little more flexibility and also gives us more data in our system, and hopefully helps us keep up to date on maintenance.
Your motion?
Just to add some additional comment to this as well. So as part of this project, it was part of the capital improvement plan. However, there are some additional components of this SCADA that are still being quoted, and Eric, you can kind of expand on this. But what was brought to the Utility Commission was the award of this bid and then an additional $20,000 to address kind of the pull and the connection of those in an amount not to exceed that. So the total amount that the council would be authorizing this evening would include the bid to Quality Flow and then an additional an amount not to exceed $20,000 for the installation of the SCADA.
Looking for a motion? I'll make a motion to make the recommendation for the SCADA updates.
You know, approve all those in one.
Yep. $56,200 plus $20,000 installation, up to $20,000.
I'll second that.
Discussion? I take the roll, Michelle?
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert,
Yes.
Alderman Kraft.
Yes.
Alderman Kittle,
Yes.
Alderman Breeze,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
Motion passes. Police Department vehicle bids, Deputy Chief Vehicle.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. So the 2022 CIP called for the replacement, or actually the addition of a couple of vehicles. One is being built that we should expect to take delivery sometime later this summer from Johnson Ford. The other is moving one of our current unmarked but fully operational patrol vehicles into the rotation and then replacing it with a slightly used vehicle that's currently being driven by the deputy chief. So Public Safety did authorize us to go out for bid. We did that. However, Somehow I missed it, but I put out, I neglected to put that we were looking for a V6. So we did receive a number of bids from the local dealerships. When I realized the mistake I made, we did extend the bid deadline and sent it out to all the other dealerships in town again. We didn't receive any other bids. So staff is recommending that we accept the bid from Bernard's Northtown for the 2019 Jeep Cherokee with the V6 cylinder for $29,975. That is $975 higher than what we were anticipating for the CIP. We would propose that we're going to try to cover that with our 2022 operational budget through the PD. And then we'd also be looking for approval for the $400, which would include the 4 years and 8 oil changes with tire rotations, and then also $10,000 for the equipment and installation to include purchasing a new radio, the lights, sirens, and things like that to make it a functional police car.
I'll make a motion to approve the vehicle maintenance and equipment for the cost of $40,375.
Second it.
Further discussion?
Were all these vehicles comparable?
No, all the other vehicles were 4 cylinders.
Okay, so this is the only
And,
6 that there was in the bid?
There was actually 2 6-cylinders, but one was sold prior to tonight.
Okay,
So the recommendation was gonna be with the one that was cheaper out of the 2, the more expensive was the one that was sold.
okay.
Michelle, you want to take the roll, please?
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderman Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Vreeze?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Abstain.
Motion passes. Next item, Resolution 052205, Tax Incremental District Affordable Housing Extension for TID number 8.
And council, as you will recall, back in March, we discussed all the tax increment districts within the city of New Richmond. We identified 2 tax increment districts, TID number 5 and TID number 8, that were eligible for early termination, and then also using the final year of increment collection towards affordable housing, the establishment of an affordable housing fund. So in April, prior to the April 15th deadline, we did move forward and adopt the resolution for Tax Increment District 5, which resulted in the final year of collection being 2022. The resolution in front of you tonight for Tax Increment District 8 are the same resolutions that were brought forward for Tax Increment District 5. However, in 8, we would be looking to have the final year of revenue collection be 2023. So Tax Increment District 8 has been sharing with 5 since I believe 2011, at which time that increment was deemed distressed. When a tax increment district is deemed distressed, essentially the revenue can be collected to then pay the obligations that were a result of prior to the time it was considered distressed. So there was debt payments that have been coming out of that tax increment district that the revenue has been covering, as well as prior commitments before the tax increment district was distressed. So TID 8 is in a position where there's a positive fund balance. There's enough fund balance available for it to pay debt obligations early. And additionally, with about an annual revenue generation of this increment, it would add an additional $380,000 to $400,000 to the affordable housing fund if we extend that final year to collection of 2023. On which time, the next memo or the next item in there would be the termination document for Tax Increment District 8. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to address those. But really, we're bringing forward this recommendation so that Tax Increment District 8 can be closed prior to what we originally thought it would be, and again, move some of those funds to the Affordable Housing Fund. Additionally, we project that there will be about a $1.3 million remaining fund balance, which then would be distributed to the jurisdictions upon final closure.
Our portion of that would be,
Approximately
700?
35% of that.
So close to 500,000, 475 to 500,000. The city would get that portion from the four taxing entities.
So that would be the portion that we would get from the final fund balance, and then again, that 350 to 400,000 would go to the affordable housing.
Mr. Mayor, I offer a motion that we approve Resolution 052205.
I'll
Second.
second.
Who won?
I have Carrie as the winner.
Any further
Thanks, Michelle.
discussion? Take the roll, please, Michelle.
Alderman Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
yes.
Alderman Vries?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert?
Motion passes. Resolution 052204, Tax Incremental District Termination Resolution for TID number 8.
Again, Mayor and Council, on this one, this is the resolution that would just be authorizing us to close that tax increment district, having the final revenue collection period of 2023, and it would close upon that collection, 2023 final year.
We'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 052204 to close TID number 8.
Second.
Discussion? Not. Michelle, take the roll, please.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Vries?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderman Kraft?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item is ordinance 577, processions, parades, runs, walks, bicycle races, and marathons.
So included in the packet is a draft resolution. This is based on our most recent Public Safety Committee meeting. There's discussion following the St. Patrick's Day Parade based on complaints from homeowners and business owners about some of the items that were handed out during our most recent parade. So there's discussion and recommendation from the Public Safety Committee that when it comes to perishable items, that those items have to be packaged if they're gonna be handed out during the parade. And then in addition, we made in some cases, it's minor grammatical updates. This section of the ordinance hadn't been updated in several years. And so we thought while we're looking at it, see if there's any updates that need to be made. So if the council was comfortable tonight, you could approve this. If you want to have this more as a first reading and want more time to review it, that's totally fine as well. We just wanted to bring it forward based on the recommendation from the Public Safety Committee.
Mayor, I offer a motion that we approve ordinance number 577 as it has been amended.
I'll second it.
Suspend the rules.
That's what I meant, to
And
suspend the rules.
Any other major changes in there besides?
No, in some cases, there were former references to clerk treasurer instead of city clerk. We did include some things just based more on that haven't been actually reflected in the ordinance, but making sure that our parade permit applications are submitted for our January council meeting. So that's something that we've done in practice for the last several years, but just wasn't in the actual ordinance. So otherwise, nothing really substantial.
Okay.
Further discussion? Michelle?
Alderman Vries?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderman Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item, ordinance 576, Utility Commission membership.
Yeah, I can start. Alderman Vries is on the Utility Commission. If you recall, about a year and a half ago or so, we added 2 positions onto the Utility Commission. So it used to just be 5 citizen members. We added a council rep as well as a business representative. And our hope was to have a representative from one of our larger utility customers here in New Richmond. And currently, we have a city residency requirement for that position. So they have to be employed by a New Richmond business and they need to live here in the city. We've had a hard time filling that position. We've had interest, but folks either live in the township or they may live in a nearby community, although they are interested in serving. And so the proposed revision to the ordinance that you see in the packet tonight doesn't change the actual membership. It would still be a business representative. It just changes the residency requirement. So they don't have to live in the city of New Richmond in order to serve. The term length is still 1 year, and it's still a 7-member commission. We hope this would open up opportunities for interested community members to serve. And I don't know if Alderman Vries, if you have anything like to add to it.
Yeah, I just thought that since this was a business position seat on the Utilities Commission, that it wouldn't need requirement to be a city resident. They would be truly representing the business. And I would make a motion to approve ordinance 576.
I'll second that.
Questions?
Yeah, I've got, so if a certain individual is the business representative, doesn't live in the city, doesn't work at the business anymore, would he have to be resigned from the commission also?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, you say the business, they could be.
No,
employed-
no, if he didn't work for that particular business that he's,
That's what you just, not, right, but if they went to a different employer in the city of Richmond.
oh,
why
I
would-
get, yeah,
Right,
they'd have,
if their employment moved outside of the city.
right, that's what I
not a
meant,
ci- Yes.
yeah,
But I think Pete's point is that they want it from a large utility customer.
right.
So if
No,
he
I
goes to
get
s-
that, that's a good idea.
So I think if somebody moves on to a smaller business or whatever, we might look again for somebody in that position. 'Cause-
And all I'm saying, if somebody moves on from that position and works in now Scandia and doesn't have anything to do with New Richmond anymore, they would have to, we'd have to
Definitely,
find a
yeah.
new member.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct. And these are 1-year memberships.
okay.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Michelle, take the roll, please.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes?
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert.
Yes.
Alderman Kraft.
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Motion passes. Request for a proposal for impact fee study.
Mayor and council, in your packet tonight is a draft of an RFP to obtain proposals for updating our municipal impact fee study. The last study was conducted in 2015. Prior to that, it was 2010 and 2002. It's important to have a reevaluation of impact fees on a regular basis to ensure that our rate structure as well as our capital projects that are identified within that study are current. Impact fees can only be utilized for those projects that are identified as part of the study. So if a project is not identified as part of the study, we cannot use an impact fee towards that. Again, with the duration it has been since having the last study, we are approaching 7 years from that study. So that information is starting to become outdated and we need to update that. This was a project that was budgeted for as part of the 2022 budget. So we're just seeking council approval to go outside and solicit those requests for proposals, and then we would bring those back for recommendation to the council during the work session. Just from the timeline perspective that things are working out process, it would look like we would bring those back during the work session.
Any idea how long this takes to do an impact study?
I would anticipate that we would have a final study, and we're hopeful that we would have that prepared to start the new fee structure in 2023.
If you were to guess, what would you put the budget range at?
Right now, we had 15,000 as part of that budget.
You think that's sufficient?
I'm hopeful that that is sufficient, yes.
Here, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the seeking of bids for the municipal impact fees.
I'll second that.
I'll take the roll, please.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert.
Yes.
Alderman Kraft.
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes?
Motion passes. Communication and miscellaneous. I've got something here. I was at a Habitat for Humanity groundbreaking last week, and I just want the general public to know that anybody can volunteer for that. Sometimes it's a couple days or 8 hours, whatever, but it's a great project, and maybe, I don't know if the city would want to get together and see if staff, you can go as a group if you want that way, and they'll set you up to go there. It might be just one Saturday or whatever it is like that, but it'd be a great project for actually the city of New Richmond staff to get involved for one day in a project like that. It benefits the city and it's a great project for a family, needy family
Jim,
to
do you have any
get
idea
housing.
They have to apply.
No, it's better if you
They gotta have
apply so
some-
you know who's coming.
Yeah, they gotta have something for you to do.
So people are listening, they got to put in whatever, I don't know if it's
Just call them
online or
up,
whatever.
Habitat
and
for
then they get
Humanity.
scheduled.
I think Christy Smith is the contact person, and she's in Hudson, I believe. But just go to Habitat for Humanity, there'll be a phone number. Great project, and this is, I think, the 6th or 7th in New Richmond now total. One was done last year on, right down from the high school.
Park.
And the city worked with them to get a better price on the land, and there's a lot of volunteer time, and there's corporations that put money into this too, but it's a worthy cause. So anybody that's interested, you can call the city, call Beth Thompson otherwise. She was there for the groundbreaking, and she is involved, with Christy Smith from Habitat for Humanity.
Jim, I'll include the information in the minutes.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Other communication and miscellaneous.
If I may, Mayor.
Right?
As you saw on the consent agenda, we do have on May 21st at 10 a.m. the K-9 Fun Run and Walk. That'll be taking place at the police department. You can also register online. You go on our Facebook page, and the registration link is there. This year's theme will be twinsies, so dress like your pet and come out and walk a couple miles. There'll be some prizes there. We haven't been able to do any fundraisers for the last couple of years, so the K-9 Fun's getting a little bit down there. If anybody wants to come out, it's usually a fun day, fun couple hours anyway. So if you have any questions, you can certainly get a hold of myself or Deputy Chief Kaler or the K-9 handler, Katie Shivery, and we can get your questions answered and get you set up, but hope to see some folks out there.
Yeah, and I have a question. So we're getting ready to go into closed session, and what we're going to deal with, as you can see if you're reading the agenda, has to do with, I guess I'm going to paraphrase here, complaints that have been filed against the interim fire chief. And I'm confused because I understand that we have two documents that have been submitted, one that was signed by some people and one that has a ubiquitous name, Concerned Firefighters of New Richmond, and maybe the New Richmond part isn't on there, and Concerned Firefighters too. So I'm wondering if any of those people are in the audience tonight? So, all right, so are you the only person that's a concerned firefighter that's represented by that group? Can you tell us who that represents? Because so the first letter that was signed, the people that have sent correspondence, provided correspondence to the PFC and now have sent correspondence to the council, and it's just signed Concerned Firefighters, it is safe for me to assume that all of those individuals who signed the first letter are represented every time there's been communication that's been had the name put on it, Concerned Firefighters in Richmond. So I can take those names and they apply to all the correspondence that's been directed to the city council. Well, I would say this, as a matter of policy, the second communication technically without this information is anonymous. And we don't deal in anonymous complaints, right? We don't deal with anonymous information, and so you're providing some clarity, that's good. So the individuals that signed the first complaint, I guess that's what I'm gonna call it, and the second thing is just says Concerned Firefighters, that's those same people and more, you're saying. Okay, but, and I appreciate that, but I just want to make sure I understand the communication that has come to the city that just, again, has this name Concerned Firefighters on it. I'm safe to assume that the people who signed, that we can identify it as those individuals, and you're saying plus there are some more that are represented by that? And the communication that was sent to the city council last Thursday night. That's the same people. It says concerned firefighters.
Can we just request that we get signatures on the second complaint and we just don't we don't deal with that tonight? I mean, my comfort level. What do you mean?
I didn't look at it word for word, but I guess what you're saying is it wouldn't matter if we don't deal with it, because if it's the same language that's in the first one, we can ignore the second one. But just for a point of clarification, again, because there's been other communication that just has concerned firefighters on it. I want to know, can I always understand unequivocally that it is those, I don't know how many signatures, was there 6 or 7? I don't remember. It's been a while since I looked at the first letter. Okay?
No, it wasn't 17.
It's not.
I don't know if you.
I would just, I mean, honestly, I would just say that unless there's a signature, we just don't address it.
But I'm going for something more here, because there's been other communication that just says concerned firefighters. I want to know what is the identity of that, right? It's not a corporate structure. It's a name that some folks have adopted to use.
I think you need to be at the microphone.
There have been multiple times where any of us that have tried to discuss or bring concern issues since.
We're going to get to that. My question merely is to the identity of the people who call themselves a concerned fire. That's all I'm asking you right now. And can you,
Their
do you
roster.
have the complaint? The first letter? Yep. Can you just tell me the number of names? That's all I'm asking for at this point, is the number.
I believe we had around 15, 16. I think we had 6 former, and then I think there's 10 or 11 current.
But only 6 signed it.
On November
7.
Okay, so we have 7
There
signatures.
may be a page that might be missing from that document. then.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. The original had
I just,
2, yeah.
that's all I
so,
counted was 6.
Yeah.
Do you know, Noah?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
I just want to make sure that we have something that's identifiable, that's all.
So the first letter in November, the number that you're referencing, that was just on the first page. So that includes Robert Wilson, Matt Dodge, Roger Lindloff, Chris Canada. And then on the second page includes Brad Niederer, Gary Hines, Gary Atkins, Josh Lindstrom, Greg Walker, Jocelyn Cahonen, Robin Hafner, Richard Hafner, Jonathan Hafner, John Jarko, and Doug Franson.
Okay, so just
I
for
misspoke,
the
16.
purposes of when there's communication that's directed at the city council that says concerned firefighters, it's those individuals.
For the most part, we can certainly start signing it each and every time with everybody's name if that would be easier or better for you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Mayor, I'm going to offer a motion that we go into closed session per Wisconsin Statute 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction
Second it.
or exercises responsibility.
I'll second it.
And that's for a complaint against interim fire chief as referred by the Police and Fire Commission.
Yes, sir.
Your motion to go into closed session. First, second. Take the roll, please, Michelle.
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderman Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Breeze?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
We're in closed session.
So we didn't get to ask the Boy Scout, are you guys Boy Scouts? Did you just come tonight to kind of witness government in action? I was hoping to ask you
I
that.
was trying, like, everybody was talking, I was like, we just didn't, no, you're good. I just wanted to make sure that people, like. No. I was like, maybe, like. So.
Okay. That was exciting stuff, wasn't it?
I can do that. I mean, I'm a mom.
bad we couldn't have you say a few words.
I hear you.
Try and get to that point, and then we
Thank
went into
you.
closed session too quickly. So thank you for coming. I think, obviously, I don't know if what.
Yeah, thanks.